Hey, crypto family, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going over another Divi Project blog. This is an educational blog on impermanent loss and DeFi. So this is a new thing coming around. People are understanding a little bit more about liquidity pools and how they can make some extra passive income off of that. But you need to understand impermanent loss in the DeFi sector. So let's go over this article and see if we can learn something new in the crypto space. So here we go. Impermanent loss is the difference between the amount of profit / loss in identical position. Okay, example, 1 wrapped Ethereum plus 3,000 USDT would inquire from holding versus providing liquidity over the same time frame, excluding any trading fees and or incentive gathered by the liquidity provider. So yeah, impermanent loss in DeFi. Let's dive on in. So impermanent loss in DeFi. Impermanent loss is a tricky subject unless you've already been comfortable in the world of DeFi. There are about half a dozen other complicated concepts that we will need to tackle before we even scratch the surface. So we will do our best to be concise, and here goes nothing. So we got to understand these terms. Here we go. DEX. A decentralized exchange is an exchange with 0 intermediaries. If you trade directly peer-to-peer with someone, then you are involved in the decentralized exchange of value. The current common use of the term DEX refers to automated swap platforms like Uniswap that operate via liquidity pools and automated market makers, thereby obfuscating, that's a weird word, the need for any centralized control. Another word we need to know is AMM. An automated market maker is an automated trading system built up of a series of smart contracts, aka liquidity pools, creating on-demand liquidity in a decentralized manner. Now, what is liquidity pool? We also need to know that. A liquidity pool is a pool of 2 different assets that always aims to be equally balanced. Liquidity pools are what allows DEXs to have liquidity on hand when you want to make a trade. Now, liquidity provider. Liquidity providers can be anyone. You can choose to add crypto assets to a liquidity pool, and in so doing, share in a percentage of trading fees from that pool. You also must understand arbitrage trading. Arbitrage trading is a form of trading wherein the trader takes advantage of price discrepancies across markets. And lastly, wrapped Ethereum, WETH. When trading on Ethereum-based DEXs, Uniswap or SushiSwap, for example, all transactions occur with ERC20 tokens. If you're using Ethereum, you will need to wrap it into wrapped Ethereum in order to swap or provide liquidity. All right, so now that we have a basic understanding of some of the required terminology, let's focus on impermanent loss. What is impermanent loss? Impermanent loss is the difference between the amount of profit / loss in identical positions. Example, 1 wrapped Ethereum plus 3,000 USDT would inquire from holdings versus providing liquidity over the same time frame, excluding any trading fees and / or incentives gathered by the liquidity provider. This simple explanation accurately conveys the core concept of impermanent loss. For a more nuanced explanation, you can read the Uniswap, a good deal for liquidity providers article to get just a little bit better explanation. But as the market price of the underlying assets changes, arbitrage traders rebalance the pools by taking advantage of mispriced assets within the pools. Now, what causes impermanent loss? When the ratio of assets in a liquidity pool varies from the ratio at time of deposit, impermanent loss is inquired but not realized. The further the variance from the time of the deposit ratio, the more dramatic the impermanent loss becomes. The actual mechanism that caused this to occur are quite complicated, so we won't get into it here, as our main goal is to familiarize you with the general concept, not dig into the technical side. To oversimplify, liquidity pool pricing is based on asset ratio as the market price of the underlying assets changes. Arbitrage traders rebalance the pools by taking advantage of mispriced assets within the pools. Now let's walk through a specific example. Here we go. So for this example, we'll assume that 1 wrapped Ethereum is equivalent to $3,000. So you have 1 wrapped Ethereum and 3,000 USDT. The scenario is you hold the 1 wrapped Ethereum and 3,000 USDT in your wallet. Dollar value is at $6,000. Scenario 2, you add your 1 wrapped Ethereum plus 3,000 USDT to a liquidity pool. Dollar value, 6,000. So wrapped Ethereum price doubles to 6,000. The scenario is 1, you still have 1 wrapped Ethereum and 3,000 USDT in your wallet. Dollar value, $9,000. Scenario 2, you withdraw your liquidity and receive 0.707 wrapped Ethereum plus 4,242 USD. Dollar value would be $8,484. So the difference between these two scenarios is $516, or about 5.7%. is the impermanent loss. These numbers are an estimate based on the price change detailed above. If the price of wrapped Ethereum increases further, the amount of impermanent loss would also increase. We use the impermanent loss calculator tool to help estimate these values. The term impermanent loss refers to the fact that the losses are not realized until you redeem your liquidity token for the underlying assets. Now, why is it called impermanent loss? The term impermanent loss refers to the fact that the losses are not realized until you redeem your liquidity token for the underlying assets. If your assets remain in the liquidity pool until a time when the pool ratio returns to the time of deposit ratio, your impermanent loss will return to zero. From our example above, let's just say that you never withdraw your liquidity and now the price of wrapped Ethereum goes back to $3,000. This means that the pool ratio has returned to the time of deposit ratio, 1 wrapped Ethereum / 3,000 USDT. If you withdraw your liquidity and redeem your underlying assets, you require 0 impermanent losses. You would get your 1 wrapped Ethereum plus the 3,000 USDT and your dollar values back at $6,000. It is also important to note that impermanent loss is inquired regardless of the direction of price movement. The only factor determining the amount of impermanent loss is the amount of divergence from the time of deposit ratio. If, for instance, in our example above, price of wrapped Ethereum dropped by 50% to 1,500, you would inquire about a 5.7% impermanent loss. If the price dropped further, the IL would increase further. Now, impermanent loss, trading fees, and yield farming. When the price of underlying assets held within liquidity pools gets further away in either direction from the price at the time of the deposit, this creates impermanent loss. AMMs typically share a percentage of trading fees with the liquidity providers, meaning any trade occurring within the pool that you have provided liquidity for will generate some fee revenue for you. Additionally, AMMs often create short-term incentives to entice people to provide liquidity to specific pairs. Employing a strategy that specifically targets these increased incentives is referred to as yield farming. Sometimes trading fees and incentives can far outweigh impermanent loss, but sometimes they do not. If impermanent loss outweighs trading fees and/or special incentives, this means the end user would have been better off just holding the assets rather than providing liquidity. So in conclusion, at Divi Labs, we like to break down complex topics in a way that the average person will understand. Much like we build complex products and then refine them in a way that is intuitive for the end user. Impermanent loss is a tricky subject. We hope that people will have a more solid understanding of the term after reading this article. We want to give our community the insights needed to be successful in this space. The success of the Divi project is dependent on the support of our community. We need your help. If you need any additional clarifications on this topic or anything Divi or crypto related, jump into our Telegram chat and ask away. We love to learn and grow together. So yeah, that was a lot, kind of a little bit complicated, but not complicated at the same time. Like, it is a tricky subject with liquidity pools, farming. How does impermanent loss take place? Like when your token is going lower in value or versus if it's going higher. I thought this was a good example of it. So it was a great way to learn about impermanent loss in DeFi, a little bit more about liquidity pools. We got some definitions on a lot of terms I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't fully grasp or understand. So that's great to have that on here. So yeah, guys, that was a great article. If you guys liked it as well, thumbs up this video, share with your friends, help the algorithm grow, subscribe. I appreciate that so much. And as always, stay safe out there. So until next time, Crypto Sherpa is out.